Hello and welcome to Tales from the Tumble Tankard. I'm Jim, aka Argent Wind, and I'm your host for Avress, the Shattered World, here on the Tumble Tankard Discord servers and YouTube channels. Here we are with episode 103. We are looking at uh, picking up where we left off here. The party has had a eventful and relaxing and fun time with one little murder mystery and encounter with some terrible fake creatures. Um, Other than that, Harvest Fest went off without really a hitch. You guys had a chance to spend more time relaxing and playing games and having lots and lots of good food. Um, Weirdly enough, a lot of apple-based things. There's pies and cobblers and everything else. As you've never really been here for this time of year exactly, but there's a rather large apple orchard on the northern side of the farmlands, and so a lot of dishes was set up here. So you found so if you don't like apple, this isn't a good time of year for you. But also lots of cider and different ales and beers and everything else, and
Apple
things that people,
butter.
yep, things that people have crafted, things that people have imported from other cities and locations. And so it's been a very once the scare of king was dealt with, it's been a very good time with friends and family and such. Um, but there is and there's always this undercurrent of what are we going to do? How are we going to deal with this? And you've discussed and talked and researched a little bit about ways of potentially exploring and getting over to the nightmare lands where you think that this threat is coming from, and had come across three potential leads initially. First off, going via the elemental planes, having a person over at Agiris, the librarian there, had mentioned that she'd come from the plane of water, where the ice, the most of the silver dragons and white dragons had fled to during the cataclysm, and they have sort of established strongholds of sort in that region. Um, the other one being the in the city of Arius that Athena has been to. There is a rift to the elemental plane of air, and would not be hard to access that elemental plane as well. And the third one being a little bit more, a little bit, at least to find out more information, at least, the vampire you met. Um, One Amber and Zolas from Scarlos up in the far northern reaches of Scarlos there. Um, he in doing some research about him, and found out that he's actually older than the Cataclysm itself. It is said that he actually um, was one of the original refugees that came over during the Cataclysm from the Old World, and sometime centuries later became a vampire and is still around to this day. So he may have some information for you as well. So there are, of course, potentially other ways to go as well, but um, it all kind of comes to you what route you want to take. I mean, the other choice would be to hop in Serenity and take the airship over the ocean and fly over there, but that's probably not a
You
great
should.
way to go, as it puts a lot of people in danger. Um, and the last expedition that went there, taking an airship, didn't go so well.
Yeah,
So
we kind of shut that one down.
yeah. So as you are still uh you can be either be we'll put you back still in Ravenscrest, still at the house. Um you kind of throughout the week kind of made it spent a lot of time in the kind of the giant little meeting, living, dancing parlor area um of the house there. And so um yeah, what would you like to do? How would you like to proceed from here?
I think we need to do a sending to the vampire to see if he's willing to give us any assistance, rather than rather than going there and the party not being happy with that.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that would be a good idea.
But then I will say to the party, if he does invite us to come and speak to him and look at things that he has there, I think we should definitely do it. But we don't invite him here because that's not happening.
No, you
And they're in
shouldn't
the
invite a
Zorla.
vampire into your home, because once you invite them in, they'll always be allowed in.
One bit of information in the discussions you've had, and research that's been done, you do know that the elemental planes that route there, while the Feywild and Shadowfell are sort of reflections of the material plane, you find a lot of similar locations from one place to the other. The Shadowfell often has dark, ruined reflections of cities and towns and villages that correspond to a place in the real world. The Feywild is a little stranger than that, but there are some very landmarks that are very similar from one to the other. But both of them have a lot more in terms of threats and unpredictable nature about them. The elemental planes, however, from what you haven't been there, but from the research you've done, you do know that um, every part of the world touches the elemental planes in some way, and so there's a lot of times traveling through the plains, maybe a very short trip when the plane's there, but a long distance on the material plane. It really kind of depends on knowing the route you need to take, or having a guide, or have someone to kind of bring you, or knowing a landmark that might correspond to something within the material plane. And so that's where a guide or someone really knowledgeable about the planes there could definitely help. Um, so that there is that. It may one of the shorter trip potentially could be the elemental planes there, um, but again, would need to find a good guide and someone to get you where you need to go, and then getting back out to the material plane, that could be the tricky part. Because once you're there, you need a way through. So, um, if Zorlas is the vampire is your choice, so what do you
Yeah.
want to what sort of sending, and what do you want to say?
I shouldn't be the one to send it.
Probably not. He doesn't know you.
Mm-mm.
Or me.
If you said something there, but we couldn't hear you.
Sorry, I was going to say neither of them have met him anyway, because they weren't with us when we met him. So I would just say we're looking for information about the cataclysm, in the hopes we can take down those fuckers that killed your daughter. I mean, I know that was us, but it was their fault.
I was gonna say, wait, us? I mean,
And what else do we need to know? I guess just that, really.
well, maybe if he knows anything about the Shadow Realm,
Nightmare Lands.
Nightmare Lands.
Okay, plus anything about the Nightmare Lands, because I think we've got to go there. ...
Okay. So condense and send. His response would be happy to help. There's information I can provide. So, you are welcome to come here. I am not able to travel at the moment, but you are welcome to come to my stronghold. I will provide information.
We're going to him.
I will tell the party that we have been invited to the stronghold to gather information about the cataclysm in the Nightmare Lands. And I think we should take him up on it. And if you guys don't want to, then I'm going to ask Lucas to just come with me, because I'm going to go. Even if I have to go on my own, I'm still going to go. So It's up to
Now,
you guys whether you want to come with.
let's just point out basically what we're looking at here. Currently, you are right here. Okay. And his area is up here. So definitely a long distance away. Now you are aware that at least your airship captain, first mate, and um, cook and medical person on the airship are from Scarlo. They
Yeah.
actually are from there. So they, and in fact, you do remember that they were part of the reason why you know anything about this guy, because they'd heard of him based on what they know of the famous people in their country. So yes. So yeah, traveling there, there's not really a fast way to get there, but you could use the airship.
It's gonna be like,
Yeah.
what, a week?
Oh, more like
No, more
like
than that.
it was a week to go from here to here, like almost 10 days to go here. It'll be more, it'll be closer to
2
3.
like 3 weeks. Yeah.
Yeah, 3.
That's a
Woo!
lot.
Yep.
All right.
It's gonna be a haul.
Really? Wait.
Mm-hmm.
Probably closer, yeah. I mean, you're also going uh yeah, roughly, yeah, it
Mm-hmm.
was 10 days from there to there. Let's just uh
Why has the
say,
turn order just appeared?
oh, I don't know. Click something around there. Yeah, it's
Actually, that looks
almost,
like a button.
yeah, it's not quite double, but it's definitely
Yeah.
um
Okay.
yeah,
It's far.
yeah, it's far. 2 to 3 weeks. I mean, easily. And you're going over unknown territory and um over airspace of potentially 3 different countries.
Yeah.
Do we have the airspace clearance to be doing that?
Well, who are you gonna ask?
Let's go ask. Our people are still here, right?
Yeah, the ship is still here. So the
So
crew is here.
I'll go ask. Not the captain, the lady who steers it.
Well, I mean,
The
uh,
pilot?
she doesn't know. She just flies the ship. She doesn't know. She's not in
So
charge of anything.
she's just
I-
a crazy eagle.
Yeah.
She didn't know
Yeah.
anything.
I mean,
Yeah,
we've
listen.
been invited to the guy that runs the place.
Yeah.
Right, but that gives us clearance to go to his place. But like, are we okay to fly over top of Coppervale to get there?
Oh,
Um,
do you bring the captain to the house to talk to him, or go to the ship to talk to him there?
Let's go to the ship. Well,
Yeah,
I think no,
I'll
bring him here
invite
to the
over.
house.
Invite him over for dinner. I'll make him something
Yep.
spicy.
So Therash, he actually, based on I mean, you let him know ahead of time what you're going to talk about, or you just like come to dinner. We need to talk to you about something.
Yep, that's the one. Come to dinner. We need to talk to you.
we need to
Okay.
talk to you about traveling to Scholars.
Okay.
Yes.
I
in
wasn't
that-
gonna tell him that, but okay.
Why?
Because I asked him to come to the house so we could talk to him. What's he need more information for until he gets here?
Okay.
Okay. Well, he will arrive with no maps and no navigator or anything else, and just him. So
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
he
fantastic.
wasn't
So
told to bring anything. So
Mm-hmm.
so
Then we'll let him go back and get all of his
it's
maps.
fine. It's like
I will
essentially
offer to take him on the flying carpet to go and get everything he needs and then come back
he
again.
won't need much. Essentially, what he would probably he's going to indicate. I mean, I assume you let him know the nature of your invitation. How much
Yes.
you telling him? Okay. Oh, so we're going to Heroes. Heroes is the very much the uh it's a strange and forbidden place, foreboding place, not forbidden. People go there all the time. And he's nervous. Like he's definitely like not. It's not hard to read. Like the idea of going there is like whoop. Um, if you have an invitation, I'm sure that will not be a problem for traveling to Scarlos.
We've
Uh,
had
as
a
much,
verbal invitation from Amberin Zolas.
yes, that would be him, the Bastion. We could. It would tack on a couple of days, but we could just go straight north and then use the coastal area and not have to worry about clearance over Coppervale. Essentially, go to the ocean and fly over that way. We shouldn't need. At this point, we should not be required to put down to recharge the ship, but um, yes. What are we doing here? Stop it.
What are you
Okay.
doing, Brittany?
Having a
Being
scenic
a
route.
goof.
It's a scenic route.
Yep. So, yes, it could be done. I have not been back to Scarlos in quite some time. But yes, we
How
can
are the
definitely do so.
others gonna take it going back over? Do you think they'll be all right?
Um, I don't think there'll be much of a problem. I mean, there's no reason they can't go back. It's just whether they. Um, it has been a while.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Moment, please. Emir, he served in the Navy there. Una, she don't think she has any specific issues with anyone. But she did leave. Um, so without asking them, I'm not sure exactly.
Would flying over Coppervale be a massive issue? Would that be problematic?
Not necessarily. It just means that we have to basically get permission and state what the nature of the business is, and um, it just adds an extra complication potentially.
Right. Okay.
I mean, it's more a matter of time and urgency and or what can be done. I mean, it really isn't that because it only add a couple of days to the trip to bypass.
Okay. Do they all
So,
sound like you there?
well, some are more uh this is typical. Uh your friend there, um Yildor has a
Yodor.
similar accent, just a higher pitched voice.
Yeah.
It's all very Germanic Russian type sound.
Yeah. Hello, pretty lady.
No.
I love it.
No. Yeah, elves in this world are Russian.
Okay.
People from Scarlet. What you know what Scarlet area is? It's about 2/3, actually about well over half the population is just elf. A good quarter of the population is half elf, and the rest are mostly humans and some other mixes there. You find like no um like dwarves, gnomes, halflings really there at all.
Right. Okay.
Like if they're there,
Warforged.
they're visiting. It's just because they're just not native.
The Warforged are over there too.
Warforged are somewhere there too. So I'm not sure exactly where they live there, but yeah, there are. You have heard the Warforged were essentially created there, and a not insignificant portion of the population are also shifters.
Oh. Okay.
Like the captain himself.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
It is a very rugged, a lot of alpine forest, a lot of hills, and it gets steadily colder as you go north.
Is that this course where the museum was?
Well, the museum, yeah, the museum was Wonders of Scarloaf. Yes,
Yeah. Okay.
that's where Gildor is
So we
from.
have
There is
been there before then.
no, the museum was here in Port Oris. It's the museum is the Wonders of Scarloaf. It's like that's
Okay.
it showcased. It's in the foreign quarter of Port Oris, so where they have a museum. It also serves as kind of an embassy for Scarlos.
Right. Okay. I understand.
Yeah.
So we haven't been there before.
No.
And what kind of creatures do we think we'll find there? What's the wildlife?
Depends on where you are. It's a very large place.
Because I
You
didn't
have
ask that before we went to Dracol, and we found dinosaurs and everything, and it was like, what? Completely
it's
just.
a lot very common to have like wolves and a certain population of bugbears and furbog in the wilder areas.
Okay.
As you go further up into the mountains and the Everfrost peaks and north into the tundralands beyond, you find frost giants, you find yeti, you find like ice wolves and things like that. But it's That's probably the primary wild. I think lots of elk and deer, various kinds. Um,
Okay.
yes.
Nothing too big and scary there.
I mean, I wouldn't say that. There are a certain number of less than civilized lycanthropes occasionally.
Right. Okay.
Hold on. Vampires and werewolves?
Yes.
Uh-huh.
And I mean, it is thought that shifters have ancestors who are lycanthropes, and it dilutes over time in the bloodstream, and then becomes more just being able to change and take on animalistic characteristics.
So there used to be werewolves, but they're all right now.
I mean,
No. Stop
I
it.
don't.
Stop.
Yes.
Stop it. We love you to
And-
death, but stop it.
No, never.
You don't tell her what to do.
Exactly.
Listen. All right. So, maybe are we going to be fighting werewolves?
No, not if we just go and
Hopefully not.
see
Hopefully
I
Mr.
don't know
Zola.
werewolves. I don't know werewolves that can fly.
But I mean, we have to
fly-
land at some point, right?
Well, not necessarily. Only if we want to stop them for supplies, but we can make
because
sure that we have enough
if he gets
supplies.
shot in the head by my son.
We can jump out and like land somewhere near to
Wait,
where we need to be.
We can jump out, and we're not going to hurt ourselves.
Oh, we would probably don't need the ship to land. We can just we can just jump out, right?
So,
One of us has got feather fall, I'm sure.
she's going to look over at the captain like this is just a common occurrence. People just jump out of ships because Athena's never jumped out of a ship.
With them, yes, very common occurrence.
Sort of swung from a rope without any.
With normal passengers and crew, no, we don't just jump out of the ship. We actually land, or at least get close enough to the ground that we can put down ladders and such, so that we don't have to actually fall or have some way of flying.
I think most of us have got ways of flying. Has Lucas got feather fall that you can use on Athena?
Yeah, I've got feather fall, yeah.
Yeah, okay. So you can float down and the rest of us will fly down and
Well, I can jump. That's not a problem. That
you have. Well, if we're preparing,
we don't want you to jump and take falling damage just before we go and see the nobility dude. We could do with you being in like good condition and everything. So let's just feather fall, gently land on your feet like a cat.
I assume you have resources and such now. Between now and then, maybe get some potions of flying or something that would allow you to do so.
She doesn't like flying though. But if you can fall slowly, I don't know what's up with her. She's got a problem with flying, but you can fall slowly.
Do you have a problem being on an airship?
I
it might
mean,
be an issue.
It's more of me being able to feel nature with my toes.
Well,
Aren't you a Genasi?
No, I am not.
Goliath.
I'm a Goliath.
Oh, you're a Goliath. Oh, yeah.
I understand. I mean, and the
I
idea
don't
of being away from stone, I know Goliaths have a connection to the earth a lot of times. So, um, if you need to, we can land when we need. Um, it- we will not require any landing unless there's an emergency of some kind, or unless some of you need to. We should be able to make the trip without requiring landing. Um, and at that point, Gildor and Kiva, if you are Kiva, went there. Well, if y'all are going straight north, could you drop us off at the Isles and then head up?
You're going here?
Yeah,
Okay. I
I mean
don't see a problem with that, do you? Anyone? Captain?
I mean that actually is very much on our way, so we can actually stop off there, make a landing, and then
Get more supplies?
if we need to, I mean, so we will stock up enough for the entire trip.
Okay. Yeah, but they
Um,
might have different food there.
I would guarantee it, but I mean, doesn't mean you have to. It, it is more at that point a matter of preference rather than requirement.
Okay.
I mean, it's yes, I understand, but it won't be necessary. But if you wish, we can.
Okay.
So how soon would you like to go?
I'm thinking probably sooner rather than later. Like as soon as you think we're able to go. Is that a cat's butt there? Sorry, that was really
No, it's a blanket.
okay. Yeah, so as soon as we can, really, I think nobody else has got anything they need to do before.
We need to pick up a couple of scrolls, didn't we? We can get a scroll raised dead and a scroll teleport.
Yes.
Yep.
Okay.
Um,
I mean, that's easy enough to do, though, isn't it? You could perhaps do that today. Can you do that? Can you teleport there and back and pick them up and then?
Yeah.
And then be ready to go tomorrow morning?
Yeah.
Okay.
all right. I will inform the crew to replenish all of our stocks and supplies and ready for the trip, and then we will be on our way.
Is there anything you think that we need before we get there?
If there's anything you need to do to be comfortable in the cold, you may wish to have that. If we're going all the way up there, it is quite cold.
Cold never bothered me anyway.
Okay, also.
No, I'm amethyst.
It is going to be quite cold.
Okay.
I've not been there myself. I just know what's there. But yes. If there's anything else you need from us or anything, I will check in with Amir and Una on anything, any idea, anything they know about. But for the most part, I believe we're going to be just fine.
Okay, sounds good.
You may wish to get a more formal assurance of traveling the area. Obviously, just to say this person gave you permission, you might need to make sure that it is more official.
So shall I do a sending and ask him to make sure that they're expecting us to like jump out of a
No,
airship nearby?
I don't. It's not a matter of going to the stronghold. It is a matter of traveling across the airspace of the rest of the country. There are aerial troops. There are ships that patrol.
Yeah, but if he knows that we're coming by airship, I'm assuming that he'll give us the necessary permissions that we need.
Well, we can assume that, but when to make certain of it.
Yeah, that's why I was going to speak to him again and just make
Of
sure
course.
that. Yeah.
That's what I was. That's what I was saying.
Or is there another way of doing it? I'm assuming it's best to go through him.
I don't know of another way. I mean, if he's the one
Okay.
extending the invitation, he will need to make the necessary arrangements.
Okay.
Yes. So
Um.
and you see, he's definitely showing a bit of nervousness.
Yeah.
Like this is.
We have met before.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And it terrified him then.
Yeah.
And the crew that knew who it was.
But just to sort of try and reassure him a little bit, I will say that he's just as interested in taking down Corwain as we are because of what happened with his daughter and everything. So
I have a feeling it will not be just that.
okay.
The little I've heard from our travels together and what I picked up on, this is a problem for everywhere, and
Yeah.
a threat of this nature would not be good for anyone.
Indeed, and I mean, just what's happened in Port Oris recently, that should be enough, really, for anyone who's leading a country to say, nope, let's take these people out and get them out of the way. So,
Exactly.
Athena, have you got anything that needs attending to? Are we okay for you to leave tomorrow?
Sort of maybe getting something that we're definitely doing like Featherfall for me to jump down then.
Yeah, I mean, we've decided, Lucas, and me and anybody else who wants to go, we're going to go to Port Oris and get a few things, go shopping, and come back.
Okay.
And then with a view to leaving first thing in the morning after
Are
the
we
ship.
leaving from Port Oris or are we leaving from Ravenscrest?
Well, the ship's
the
here, isn't it?
ship will be here. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Unless you want us to fly there and then go, or
No.
easier to go
There's
from
no
here.
need. Lucas and I can pop over and go. And if anybody in the crew needs anything from Port Oris before we leave, I'm sure that they can either give us a list or come with. And ask as well. We're hoping to leave first thing in the morning. So if there's anything that you need in Port Oris today, we can do that. Lucas is going to take us. So, but there's nothing else that you need to do before by tomorrow, is there?
No.
Okay, so we're okay to leave.
Pick up some fresh spices. Crazy child.
Sure, you'll be able to go shopping while you're in Scarlet. Who knows?
Yeah.
Maybe you'll find something even spicier.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
Doubtful. It is not the place of spicy foods.
Okay.
Yeah, the elves like their flowery and fragrant and floral type things. So they're not spicy.
So it is not good food. It's the bland food.
No, it's just different. It is not a spice. It has.
Sunflowers do taste very spicy. To be fair.
Depends. Not the ones from this region.
Okay.
No, there's good flavor, but not of a spicy nature.
Okay.
It is but anyway, I will inform the crew. We'll make sure the ship is ready to go tomorrow, or soon after, whichever you need, and we will be on our way.
Okay. I'll do a sending to him while you're still here as well, just to make sure that everything's on board and on everything's in place. So I'll do that now. Yo. Not yo. No, can't hear you, nuns.
Wasn't meant for you to be hearing, but still.
Okay. Just checking everything is official. We will be leaving Ravenscrest tomorrow with the hope of getting there in, did they say 10 days?
2 to 3 weeks.
Okay. 2 to 3 weeks. Can let you know closer to when we'll be arriving. will the necessary people know? Question mark.
I will make sure that everyone is aware that foreign dignitaries are coming to Irlas. So, no worries on that avenue. The aerial patrols will be informed, and you will be able to fly unhindered by anything official, at least.
All right, I'll let the captain know and the rest of the gang. So to expect us, but all the necessary people will know that we're expected.
All right then.
Oh, it's exciting!
I'm glad you're excited.
I've never been to Scarlet before.
It is always fun to visit a new place. Yeah, it
Yeah.
will be fun.
Well, good. I will get things in motion, and we'll be ready when you are ready. When you are.
Thank you.
See you soon. Yes. All right then. And he will gather up his whatever stuff he has with him, and drink the last of his drink that he had, and head on out.
Awesome.
Or Linda, maybe not being involved here, but at some point, I can provide a couple things for your Athena for falling issues.
Awesome. Falling issues.
Yes. She has some feather tokens she can hand over.
Oh, sweet. And then also any healing potions, like supreme healing potions, or
We'll see what we have. A lot were depleted because of the rather horrible catastrophe that just happened in Port Oris, but we'll see. There's an apothecary here in town that might have at least some basic stuff. So
You've got a list somewhere of everything.
yeah.
Can't say it.
Supremes are going to be very hard to come by. They're not like you're going to find like a shelf full of them. You might find one or two if you're lucky. Those are the really expensive ones. Superiors, you'll find some. So essentially, between alchemists, just to kind of move this along here, so we're not spending too much time in shops. You can find, and you have a gob of money for this anyway. So you will find 2 supremes, 4 superiors, and then like as many greater and regulars as you want to grab.
you said how many superiors?
4.
Okay.
Yeah. Based on availability, like the Morning Dew apothecary here in Raven's Crest, they don't stock them that powerful because frankly, nobody who lives here would ever need something that strong. Like they don't have that many hit points to begin with.
Right.
So like there's about 3 people in town that could use something beyond a greater that wouldn't heal them to full automatically. So yeah, actually about maybe about 5 or 6, but still not very many. But yeah, so that's, I mean, as a quick thing there, if you wanted to kind of try to shop around and spend some time in Port Oris finding some more, but again, Port Oris is kind of picked clean because of how much damage was done there, and they're kind of replenishing stocks at this point.
You're gonna have to go and take Alindra home anyway, aren't you, before we leave?
Oh yeah, we're going to need to go to Port Oris anyway. Get the scroll.
Yep.
Yeah, if Amethyst is getting a scroll of teleport, maybe she should attune to our teleport circle.
Yeah.
Oh, you're grabbing teleport circle? I don't think that's something sorcerers can do.
Yeah, sorcerers can use teleport, the spell.
Oh, the teleport, not teleport circle, right?
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So I was thinking of getting a scroll of teleport, just in case Lucas dies and he can't teleport us out of wherever we are, just as an emergency measure.
Yeah.
And then Lucas was going to learn the raise dead just in case any of us die. So if he dies, we teleport back to Ravenscrest with his body and get him brought back. If anybody else dies, Lucas uses the scroll so he goes back. So just 2 emergency, because nobody else can do it.
Mhm.
So.
Right. I mean, Alindra will also just in case. Is there anyone in the party right now that can cast Revivify? On anyone's spell list?
No.
Okay, then never mind. So, okay. Well, in that case, yeah. Well, to kind of so Alindra is ready. And so basically Lucas is and taking Alindra back to Port Oris. Anyone else going back there?
I don't know that we all need to go back, do we?
That's why I'm asking.
That's why. I mean, I'll probably just head over there just because I can't.
Okay.
And we asked about last week. We asked about getting the scrolls, so we'll just go with
the scrolls.
Unless he particularly wants to go on his own.
No problem if you want to come.
Yeah. Okay. Well, in that case, yeah, they'll upon arriving there, essentially, Alindra will kind of go into the stocks at the Mystic Menagerie, and will hand you. She pulls out 3 feather tokens, featherfall feather tokens. You can kind of give these to Athena, or keep one as a backup or something like that, whichever you want to do. But that's all I have right now. I'm sure we can probably get more, so I'll get the stock replenished here. But she hands them over. And upon since the request was already made, you'll be able to pick up a scroll of Raised Head and a scroll of Teleport from the Lyceum. And in fact, actually, we'll probably just say that they were delivered to the Mystic Menagerie, and she'll hand those over as well, because they'll just be kind of packaged up and bundled there. Is there anything else that you're thinking you're going to need?
Some spices. Make some spicy food. I'm running low.
You'll be
Listen,
fine.
we've got a fantastic chef on the
you're
ship.
not doing any cooking on the ship.
No,
You're
you're not.
not.
You're not
Why
allowed in the
not?
kitchen.
It's fantastic.
She's going to be doing. If you tell her that you like spicy food, she will make sure your food is spicy. She's a fantastic chef, so you don't need to worry about that.
Yeah,
100%.
She's not gonna kick you out of the kitchen entirely, but it's one of those things of she's making the meals, so
too many cooks spoil the broth. But if you've got any spices on you that you want her to use, I'm sure that she will be more than happy to accommodate your taste.
Yep. Anything that you have, she does, and what you'll find out is that everything that you have, she has, because she bought up everything she could while they were in Drakal, because she actually was in Drakal. The ship was over there. So she actually stocked up on lots of various spices from there. So you'll find out her spice rack has everything that you would normally have, other than the bug. She doesn't do the bug thing like that. So if it's ground bug or anything like that, so
I'm running low on my bugs from Drakal.
Well, that's gonna be hard to replenish. So sorry about that. But yeah, actually, one of the spices it's kind of like the cayenne pepper kind of thing. Is basically ground fire beetle. It's ground up. Totally fine.
Right.
So,
and it's always good to expand your food palette. So bugs, while they're delicious, maybe
okay, Pumbar.
maybe better for you to I don't know, try some fish.
I do eat fish. I like fish. I also like the mushrooms.
Gross mushroom.
Do you guys hear my kids screaming?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So,
was there anything else you had been requesting or thinking about or wanting to get a hold of? Yeah.
I was going to say, I've got a ring of spell storing. I would at some point get someone to cast a few spells in there, just low level ones. A few shields and a couple of absorb elements.
Sure, makes sense. Yeah. Alindra can probably do a couple of those. And then someone else in the Lyceum probably grab a student who'd just be honored to go ahead. Oh, cast that, sure, cast it into the ring for you.
Yeah.
Some little apprentice there that can just do his first level spells, and sure, I can do that. So yeah, well, go ahead and put whatever basic spells you want to have in that ring, so you have them there. But other than that, no one else has anything specifically they're trying to do or needing to pick up. All right. Okay. Well, so to move on to the next day, checking in on the ship, they're getting ready to go. The ship is ready to go. They have stocked up with lots of foodstuffs, lots of all the water and or other necessities they need for the trip. Um, Eldon and Audrey have kind of like taken up there and worked with Kajay to kind of look everything over and do a full once over on the ship there to make sure it's all um, uh, fully ready, and everything else, and everything else is good to go. The crew seems eager to be away on a new trip, although Amir is a little more nervous than the rest. You kind of picked it up there. He's busy doing needs to be done there, making sure everything's stocked up and checking with everybody. And but you can kind of see there's a little bit of like those with a high insight can definitely see that he's a little nervous, um, knowing as he knows what they're going, where you're all going. But also with you is Gildor and Kiva with their bags. They each have their kind of their bags with them as well. You're to be heading back there, and um, Gildor is definitely happy to be heading back to. Well, he calls it home. He's actually spent more time there than he did living in Scarlos itself, and more time obviously than he'd spent in Port Oris. He spent quite a bit of time in the Isles. And it's sort of his second home, but the time where he spent the most time.
What is actually there?
The Isles are they're a very strange thing, really. They are uh, there are a lot of monks. There are a lot of people that like to meditate and study and do peaceful things. It's very much of a retreat of kind.
And you're taking
Or-
care of that?
I mean, she's like, I gotta say, there was also a big old pirate cove full of pirates that we got to take out and mess with, so that was good times too. But yeah, no, there's it's actually a nice place. I gotta say, it's fun to just be somewhere calm for a while, and we'll probably move on from there. Just to go back and yes, and uh um Eulor's like, I want to replenish some of my things as well, and visit some friends and some family there. Um, and so, yes, it is won't be there for a long time, but it's someplace I'd like to go back to when I can. And who knows where we'll go from there. And he kind of like looks at her, and she kind of smiles at him, and like maybe to Coppervale. We'll hop a ship over to Coppervale and travel the dwarven area. Oh.
While we're in Port Oris, we could put Athena in the bank account thing. Get her a card.
You already did that, yeah.
You did that?
Did it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, well,
Yeah.
you don't need money then. You're okay.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Just use 40 punds.
There's not much
Well,
in the way of party funds.
There will be.
there's a bunch. Let's just say that there's enough to not worry about things.
We'll
Just
definitely
remember-
put stuff in there for
Yeah. Although you're not going to be in Gervon, so those party funds, if they're not in actual currency, won't be.
Oh, is the currency different there?
Well, you don't have the bank there, so
Okay.
like you can just transfer funds there. You'll find actually Scarlos will accept the currency because again, the currency you're using is common to pretty much everywhere. they've all kind of accepted their Coppervale sort of as the main mint, and Coppervale kind of controlling financial things there. And so pretty much all of the major nations mint similar coins that are accepted everywhere here. They may have their own forms of currency for local things, but the major cities do. I mean, and Sterosh can tell you this is that the currency is accepted pretty much everywhere. That's the whole point of it. But there, the fund transfers with using the bank may not be there because the Bank of Garbon.
Yeah.
So.
The feather tokens, I think that Athena should probably have 2 of them, and then one of them should go to one of us who can fly. Should she be knocked unconscious and start falling so that we can fly over to her and use the feather token to make that happen? So either Esk or I.
I have to burn a bonus action to fly.
Okay, well, because I've got the carpet, so if I carry the other one, just in case, just an emergency. Not that I'm planning on you falling out of the sky anytime soon, but if anything happens to the ship or whatever.
You also have the fastest movement, so
yeah,
if needs be,
I do.
Get to it.
Yeah.
Right. Well, in that case, the ship is packed up. People are loading up, getting ready to go. And with goodbyes being said, of course, with Elia and everyone else who's staying behind.
We've still got tonight.
Well, we're moving the next day, and that's something else you
Okay.
want to do that evening. I mean, obviously, I assume
Fade to black, dude.
obviously, but if there's anything else you wish to do in town before you go, anything else you want to make sure is arranged, or any conversations you want to have before you go, now's the time.
Where about in Scarlet are we going exactly?
Right up north.
All the way up, and I'll actually put a little dot on the map there just to make sure we have it. It's going to be, let me just give you right up. Well, it's kind of hard to, let me try to do this on here because there's a red border there, but it's going to be right about there. Right with those kind of that river and there. So that's the spot. So, and yeah, Hogarth can pull out the map there and kind of pull out the map of Scarlos and kind of point to where it is. That's the stronghold there. That's where it's not marked as a city on the map because it's not really a city. It's more of a military outpost from what I've been told here. So yeah, it's gonna be cold.
And we will pick up some furs and stuff from Portoros, I guess, before we head out tomorrow.
They have more here.
Oh, okay.
The hunters' camps and everything like that. They actually like
Sure.
one of Ravencrest exports is furs. So,
right.
Like it's kind of like their third industry essentially. You've got the wood, you got the horses, and then you have furs.
Okay. Well, I can always fly over and just go grab some then.
Yeah.
I
mean,
I wanted to check in on them as well anyway, and make sure everybody's okay after.
Yeah.
One of their dudes getting brutally murdered by a scarecrow.
Yeah, I mean, actually, they lost 2. The guy, so the guy that you recovered there, he was well beyond saving. He had been like literally leached of life, and his body was sort of desiccated and drained. So there was not much that could be done there for him, unfortunately. But the others were okay.
I thought when they said they'd found the other guy, I thought they'd found him intact. I didn't realize they'd found his body.
Well, there was one person dead at the wall. That's the original one. That one you were brought back. That's right. Never mind.
Yeah, we brought him back to life.
Yep. Yep, that one got brought back. So, yeah, you're fine.
Okay, so the only lost one.
Yeah.
Not that it's not a big deal already, but
Yeah, and obviously, I mean, they've had worse things happen to them. So,
indeed.
But this was still
the slot was kind of sad day.
Horrendous. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, with that, the ship will If there's nothing else anyone wants to check in on, say, do whatever, we'll cut to the ship lifting off up over out of the air, out of the little the little landing area. You'll see just kind of just straight up um, initially, and sort of moving forward there, seeing the city of Raven's Crest sort of dwindling down below you, getting smaller and smaller. The just vast forest to the north of the city there ahead of you, and the ship will start taking off. And since we are going to be, we'll kind of do this. See if I can possibly make this look okay. Moment. Yeah, just trying. What are you doing? Okay. Trying to move the map. There we go.
What's the yellow dot? The ship?
That was the tomb. That the yellow dot was the tomb of the Runesmith King.
King's tomb.
Right.
That's what that was. So let me
Okay.
go ahead and put that to the map level so we're not moving that around. Here we go. All right. And so we have the ship basically heading north. Dotted yellow line.
Mhm.
And as it's not like crazy at the moment here, Ale is just sort of your pilot, your Coker pilot there is just sort of putting the ship just sort of a gentle glide there, making sure to maneuver to pick up the winds, but she's not doing any crazy loop diving motions or anything else that to pick up speed.
No crazy Ivans.
Yeah, no crazy maneuvering or anything else. That she's just kind of maneuvering with the wind and kind of keeping things fairly calm. The city, the Raven's Crest sort of dwindles behind you off the distance there, kind of swallowed up by the forest. You see kind of the rivers and everything else down below you, the hills off to the side, and within, I mean, the ship get from Raven's Crest to there is going to be about 4 days. Without any crazy maneuvering, be about 4 days to get up to the Isles. And Gildor will actually make sure that Ale and the Captain Ales know that they're actually the main city, the main city is kind of on kind of the tip out here. That's there's a place to land there, and there's a port and everything else. So that'll be fine. As you pass over these forests, you're kind of Amethyst and Lucas. I mean, these are the forests that you encountered the Slod and dealt with all of them. They're the forests that you chased or chasing Wraith through. You see, you can't quite see it through the trees and everything else, but over here is Silverleaf Village, where you encountered the Snake Folk and blew up half the village. The primarily gnomish village there. Eldon and Lucas contributing to a couple of extra fireballs in the area there, but of course the Dragonkin, the Green Dragonkin wizard, also throwing around a couple as well. So
Yeah.
but being the goblins there and
We never did catch up with them, did we? The Green Dragonkin.
no, you did.
We did.
Well, remember he died horribly. His daughter,
Fireball.
Oh yeah, his daughter came looking for us.
his daughter came looking for you, and she ended up down in enslaved to the void. She was the one down there.
Of course.
Yep. Along with Lucas's mentor.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so, and also kind of like seeing the river, kind of seeing about where the village is there. Yeah, somewhere straight up from that, the tomb of the runesmith king, where Eldon was so eager to go and delve into runic magic, and
Just before he retired.
yes,
No,
And-
he is not retired from that at all.
yeah, he's still crafting runes and doing stuff earlier. And so,
And diving into actually dissecting them. It's going to take him years to really get
Sure.
all that.
Mhm.
but it's also where you got your carpet. So,
To be fair, the carpet got me, not the other way around. I didn't
True,
take
yes.
the carpet. The carpet followed me out.
Off to the side, off to the far to the west, you know that the town of Bilgewater out there, where a certain half-orc captain of the guard and a goblin are kind of running the place as far as you know. North of that
Yeah.
being
Where Trevor murdered that guy and we got locked in a building and it set on fire.
Yep.
Um,
other way around there, the sequence of events.
the other way around.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just all of the memories flooding back.
Yes.
Bloody Trevor.
But you definitely, as you kind of move past that, on your moving into your second to your third day, essentially, you realize you're kind of moving out of familiar territory. Well, the landscape looks familiar. You know, you've never been this far north, at this point, at least on your adventures, any of you. Athena, you've never been this far away from the mountains, for the most part. So you're definitely turning more and more up in unknown territory. The trees get a little more sparse as it heads toward the coast. There, the kind of the thicker forests to the south, dwindling a bit. There, you see more grasslands, and you see sort of off in the distance the ocean.
I think this is a big oops, because if anything does happen to the ship, can any of us breathe underwater or water walk, or can we get out of the ocean, or we're just going to fall down and drown forever? Yeah, we can fly. Athena can't though. She can float gently down onto the ocean and then drown.
Can swim.
Can you? Okay, good.
And so from the third day, you will see the rocky coastline here, and across the ocean to the Unlightened Isles, and the a really modest-sized town. Gilor will tell you it doesn't really have a name. It's just the port. They just call it the port, and they never named it. They never specified. And you see obviously, you guys can stop there if you wish and resupply on the way, or just drop them off and say goodbye. It's up to you.
I think we should just tuck and roll.
We're like 5 days in.
It's the fourth day, essentially. Yeah.
Tuck and roll.
It hasn't been long. Okay.
Do you want to grab some food while you're here? Nothing? No? Okay. Right. We'll just go then.
Oh, you were talking about seeing food. Why not get food and maybe take it to go?
I mean, if we've got enough food on the ship, we don't really need to, do we? I've never been there.
Esk will throw up his arms and walk back.
Fine.
I'm sorry, and I understand that I did say broaden your horizons, but we're kind of on a time crunch, and we got plenty of food on the ship. Why were you wasteful?
Yeah.
Which is it's a place we've never been before. It might be interesting to see what there is, but if you're
Are we able to come back on the way back? Because I'm assuming we're not just gonna.
If we don't get eaten by vampires, by this big nest of vampires that you're imagining.
You stop it, or I might just not come off this ship at all.
We might bring back your exsanguinated body to
nope. You stop it. La 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 la.
We're landing anyway, so we might as well.
Yeah, you're dropping them off there. I mean, it's not hard. The fish here is the food is nothing extremely exotic or anything else. It's mostly like fish. There is oddly a number of mutton type dishes. As you will learn that the Isles have quite a number of sheep. They actually have some very decent sized herds of sheep on the islands, and so there's a lot of wool goods here, a lot of blankets and cloaks made of wool, and lots of mutton and lamb chops and things like that. Various kinds of food here, but then mostly fish, as it is a port area here for the most part. But yeah, it's not a very busy place. It's kind of mellow and everyone seems to be very calm. There's no one running around. There's nobody like acting boisterous, or there's nobody like you don't see people like armed and walking down there trying to throw the weight around there. Everyone seems very calm and pleasant and dressed in very simple clothing, mostly made of wool and fairly basic like styles. Again, it seems like a very peaceful place.
Is the wool itchy or is it nice and soft? Is it like a blanket's going to be nice, or are they like?
I mean, I'm assuming you can probably find higher quality versions and lesser quality
Okay.
versions, depending on how much
I
you
want
to spend.
something soft.
Yes,
I don't
I'm
want
sure you can
itchy.
find a soft wool blanket. It's not a
Thank
problem.
you. I want that.
And we'll just say it's actually the one thing about the blankets and even some of the cloaks you've seen people wearing here, they do tend to have some interesting patterns on them. Kind of this weird, like interesting striped patterns to them, lots of colors. It's the one thing that tends to be a little more like everyone, like their clothes are kind of like just kind of a brown or tan or kind of very basic colors, but they all tend to wear either a belt of a brighter color or some sort of trim around the sleeves or around the neck of brighter colors. It's very interesting that color things are either the cloaks, the belts, or the trim on their clothing. For those things right there, they all just sort of stand out a little bit. Like there's no one as no one's wearing anything totally like that looks like somebody else. They all have sort of a unique look to them. But yeah, you're able to pick up some blankets and a wool blanket, some decent food, of type you don't normally have a lot of, some mutton or lamb, and Gildor and Kiva will say their goodbyes, giving obviously Amethyst a big hug and being very happy to see the rest of you, and wishing you luck on your trip. And
Thank you.
Kiva like, don't any of y'all come back as vampires? You know, I'm not. That wouldn't be a good thing, really.
Not planning on that.
I mean,
We're gonna be fine.
And at that point, Amethyst, this is all kind of be done like either on the deck of the ship or off just off the ship there. You will take note that when she says nobody get turned into vampires or anything, the only person who kind of like seems to react to that is Amir.
Huh.
And you just sort of like kind of get a little deep breath there and kind of it's sort of like a little shit, just a little bit of a shudder and kind of but keeps going about it. Doesn't say anything initially, so
I'm going to telepathically say, "You're right there, dude."
it is. I can tell you later. It's we have a long trip ahead of us. I will tell you.
Okay.
And without getting, unless anyone else has anything else they want to do, in the coastal town of Port.
Set up a teleportation focus for this place.
Okay, yeah, you sort of pick up, essentially, one of the cobblestones, kind of off the side. You kind of get a good feel for that. And this place, it's been here for a long time. Kind of pick up a little bit of a chunk of a cobblestone there, and yeah, get a good reading on it. And
I can say he doesn't need to anymore because he used the gem of chaos to do it.
yeah, that's right. The gems. You kind of like put the gem out there, and it just sort of absorbs the essence of the place essentially, and picks it up. Yep. Well, with that, you guys are starting to head off again, and as you kind of start heading over the ocean here, you can see the coast. And one thing about the coastline here, it's very much a cliff. There's no like beach, there's no like shore along here. They call this the Green Cliffs. And all along here, there's no landing port. There's nothing. Pretty much from here all the way up to right about here, it's all just rocky, like just drop, like the ocean just butts up against a green wall of, and the stone itself is kind of a green color. And so you can just kind of see that as it picks up the sunlight, kind of a shimmery green color on the cliff sides there. But Amir,
from the copper.
Actually, there's various kinds of rock that have a greenish color to them. It's not so much copper, copper-based rocks and stuff like that. So yeah, green schist and olivine type things. But on that trip there, Emir will tell you, I served in the Scarlos Air Force. We did a lot of patrols, mostly on the Everfrost Peaks, and just looking for any type of incursions of large packs of wolves or yeti, or sometimes even frost giants that might be coming over, that may be coming through the mountain passes. We always had to keep an eye out for those things, and we pretty much patrolled up and down the mountains. For the most part, stopping at various villages, small cities and such. But at one point on sort of our most northernmost, there was a terrible storm. The ship was damaged, and we were in one of the airships. The ship was damaged, and needed to. It was not going to make it all the way down to a city of any note. So we put in and landed at Irlas, the stronghold, run by Zorlas. It was very strange. It's hard to describe that place. You have a mix of, well, zealots and vampires and people that serve Zorlas, like, wholeheartedly. And you have a lot of humans that are there that serve in other ways, or maybe as, well, I assume, food. It is a very strange place, but while we were there, the offer was made that some of our crew could stay and serve under the bastion. And a couple of them did accept. And we never saw them again except for, well, one. He had become I believe the term is that he uses a thrall. Those that are stronger of mind, they may retain who they are, but those who cannot withstand the changes, they become almost mindless creatures. So they still serve. They still take orders. They still act as soldiers of a type. But they are not themselves any longer. I still see that man's vacant face and full of hunger and bloodlust. And it's... I know there are many stories of aged, powerful warriors and those that serve in the military till their old age that will go and volunteer to be turned to become powerful, immortal, like troops for the Bastion. And they are just that, powerful. And they are in some ways the same, in some ways very different. So it's just, I hope that no one here will be lost.
Nah,
Well,
not happening.
We're
all very much protected from that kind of thing.
protected.
Well, from like being charmed and stuff. None of us are gonna go, oh yeah,
No,
dude, make me a vampire.
There is no charm. No, they volunteer.
Well, that's
Zorlos does nothing to compel anyone to do this.
Okay.
He doesn't need to. It is an honor for some of the oldest and venerated soldiers to live on, to continue the fight forever.
Just to reassure you, the ship won't be landing. You guys can take off again, come back, do whatever. I'm sure Lucas can teleport us out once we're done. We just needed to get here. And the party, we'll be okay.
There, Ash will just... I would not worry about it. We will be fine. And I think that no one here would be tempted to take up the mantle of Eternal Soldier. So I think we'll be fine. And it is still a part of the Empire. It is not something that would be a threat to us or anyone who's been extended an invitation by Zorlos himself.
Let me just check with Bert to make sure he doesn't want to become a vampire. Because he's already got the fangs. That would be terrifying.
It's sort of like... those like cat size that goes wandering off, just like...
I will just wink at Athena and point to the cat that's walking off.
Nope, not messing with that cat.
Yep.
Nope, if it even is a cat.
He's
a cat.
Of course, what else would he be? Of course he's a cat. Look at him.
He's a person.
Looks at you.
Fluffy little ginger butt cheeks as he walks away.
Looks at you, and then looks at it, and then looks at you. One of you is lying.
Him, not an it.
One of you is lying.
And then telepathically to Bert, you should totally mess with her. That would really freak her out.
We'll see. I don't wish to cause distress among someone so big they could squash my tail.
I thought you were a cat. What's going on?
Some people are just not worth messing with. Some people definitely are, and you sort of like you hear sort of a weird like yowling sort of sound in your head for a little bit there. They kind of keep going and going and going and going until you're kind of like, stop. But you're like,
Behave yourself.
You too.
Never.
And and so as the reassurances are made, at least the ship will continue. You'll see again the coastline as the sun sets sun rises in the east, sets in the west. So as the sun is setting off to the west there, you will see sort of the angle of the sun there kind of coming down over the cliffside. Just it's this brilliant, like green, glittering looking stone that just picks up the sunlight there. Kind of this weird shimmering look to it there. Um, in a way, almost reminding you of the Emerald Vale.
Ugh. Jim is frozen.
The the crystalline waterfall.
He's back.
You're frozen currently, so
Yeah, now you're frozen.
Am I?
yeah, this is all you.
It's all Discord, I swear.
Yep. But yeah, it's obviously a very different place there, but you're reminded suddenly of that frozen green waterfall underground of stone where you met the terrible Emerald Dragonkin. But you continue along there even through the night as you sleep, spend time eating, barring on deck, all these things. You're kind of spending your time in the early hours of the morning. Those of you who decide to be out on deck or anything else, you'll see sort of the lights of this coastal city in Drakal, right? In Coppervale here. There's actually lights kind of stretched out there, definitely a port city of some kind. Kind of where the cliffs stop being quite so rocky, you start seeing more wooded areas along the area here, and just a twinkling of lights all on the coastline there as you kind of keep going and keep on moving. And it would be about the 7th day, roughly, as it's 4 days up to here, about 3 days out to here, you will be crossing into Skarlos itself, at least on the coastal area. And actually, Sirash will kind of instruct Ale to turn inland and start moving out overland again.
I like being overland.
Yes,
That's nice.
Yep.
Mhm.
Land was always in view, but it was still ocean below you. And so now you're actually back over land, and the ground cover here is very, very different. They're tall, like evergreen style trees. There's very little like you don't get the fall colors that you were having before. Most of the trees down in Gervon, where you at, were sort of deciduous and temperate forests here. You mean sort of an alpine forest with like tall, thin, dark green evergreen trees. It's a very different look and feel of everything. You'll actually see that a lot of them, like in the morning especially, are just like coated in frost, giving this sort of these like tall spiring spires of like almost icy needles everywhere. They sort of like melt and kind of shift from like this kind of pale frost covered things to like dark green over the course of the day as the frost melts away. And you will continue. Sterosh, at this point, of the Arden Skarlos proper now. There are a number of places. We can just bypass the cities and just keep on going, unless there's some place you want to go along the way.
No, let's just get to where we need to go.
Let's go straight there.
All right. In that case, he says, all right, then we will just stay inland. We'll avoid the coast. and then just basically somewhere you'll feel like kind of moving along. And at this point you're moving to about 10 days or so, as you're keeping pace and kind of shifting, going north.
Starting to get colder.
It is getting colder. Each morning you wake up, the deck is just coated in frost. It is getting colder and colder, to the point where, like, you're seeing your breath most of the day. Kind of seeing your breath pop out there. You're finding yourself having to kind of bundle up. The person who's the most miserable right now is your the deckhand there. He is not happy. Not happy. Um, Manuel is just not happy with the cold, as he's like, he usually jumping around through the ratings with no shoes on or like that, but now he's just sort of like puddled there, kind of waiting for something bad to happen, so he has to like kind of deal with it. But he's been staying mostly below decks even. The one person who doesn't seem to have a problem with it is Ale, who's just up on deck there, just kind of letting the wind and the chill kind of there. And Eyes and Ears has never seen a problem there with the weather at all. He just sort of like finds himself in the daytime, like basking in the sun, watching the ground go by, and seems to be comfortable no matter what. But most everyone else, if they don't have to, will stay below decks at this point, or stay in their cabins and everything. At around this point, coming over the river, you will see an airship, kind of not coming toward you, but sort of like coming along, like not, I mean, like probably a good 100, maybe 100 yards away. But the design is an odd-looking one. You see a similar design here, but it's more of a dirigible style, where you're in a ship that flies. It actually has like a large, like inflated, or looks like an inflated balloon type thing, with a ship kind of underneath it. Um, Hard to tell materials or anything else with that, but those of you who are more magically inclined will definitely take note that there are elementals bound to this. There seems to be a fire elemental and an air elemental that are bound to the ship in some way to give it buoyancy and propulsion.
Nice.
And that seems to be how these things maneuver around, as opposed to using spell plates and Manatech like your ship. They're using something else. And the magic has a strange, well, as a druidic feel. You've been around Sutara. It is more of a nature-based magic than an arcane-based magic.
I've been around Ellie more.
True, yes, but in terms of who's casting spells all the time, Sutara was casting a lot more spells in action there. But yeah, it's a very similar feel to that. It sort of like does kind of the slow down and kind of like watches you, and but doesn't actually make any sort of motion or alert. No sign of no sign of any hostilities or anything else. It just sort of like watches you go by. At one point, with that, Sterosh will actually say, the hand up almost in a formal gesture, and then brings it down over his arm, almost like a salute of some kind. And those a little more keen perceptions will see at least somebody on the deck, over on the other deck, they're doing the same, kind of in almost every ply. Okay. You will keep on moving, going pretty much straight north at this point here, and we're looking at we're hitting the 2-week mark at this point. It's been a good solid 2 weeks. Where you see, the one thing you'll see kind of down below where you are right around now is along the river. There is a very large looking, almost primitive structure. It's not a city. There are a lot of like tall, like wooden, like I wouldn't call them huts, but they have sort of a much less permanent or like modern structure to them. They're just rough wooden buildings and such, all kind of clumped together along the river right around here. And those of you kind of, and because there's no reason not to, the ship's not flying super high in the air. But looking down there, eyes and ears would kind of point out, look, it is a village full of fartbog. I've only seen the one that lives in Ravenscrest, but there's a whole village of them down there right now.
Awesome. I wonder if that's where he's from.
I mean, I don't know. She's never really said where she's from. We never talked to her specifically, but
there's one that lives in Port Orus with Sora's brother.
Yes. Oh, interesting. Yes. Only one I've met is the one that lives in Ravenscrest. She works with the temple, the Shrine of Light, the healer.
Yeah.
But I don't think I've met. Actually, no, yeah, wouldn't have met him.
Mulvitash.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yep. Might be.
I called him Tashi.
Yep, Mulvitash. I think at least at some point he might have mentioned he is from somewhere in Scarlos. He didn't say where exactly.
Right.
I would assume there's other villages around as well, but it is interesting to see the type of place they live in. And again, it's sort of a rough looking, like has more of a primitive looking than a modern day city, but very, sturdy looking place there. And they're just wandering around along the river, need to be doing their thing there. At one point, a couple of them kind of look up and kind of give a half-hearted wave or kind of like shade their eyes against the sun there to kind of look up at you flying by. But yes. At least a couple of you will note among them, there are a few that are, because Furbolg are very tall, sort of like deer-like in their features and kind of the soft, downy-looking fur, kind of covering their bodies and stuff, kind of the deer-type ears. There's at least a couple of like broader shouldered, a little bit shorter maybe, with kind of tufts of dark hair and thicker, like large, like longer hair, walking among them as well. Which Amethyst would recognize because she's talked with one of them before, is Bugbear among them as well.
You talked with a bugbear?
Yeah, one that lives in Ravenscrest. He's the primary woodworker that makes wooden weapons.
Yeah, Wayne, I'll introduce you guys. Yeah. I'm sure you'll love him.
Wayne's a very fun person. Yes. I've actually we've gotten a few weapons from him. We wanted to make sure that Emir and a couple others had bows that were good quality and lots of good quality arrows in case we need to fire them at flying enemies of some kind.
Yeah.
So, anything as you start on your kind of last of your approach there, you can at this point see there's actually is now patches of snow on the ground. It isn't fully coated over yet because it's not quite. We're kind of getting into the first months of winter, but you're definitely seeing more and more white ahead of you. Like the horizon above that you're flying toward now is looking more and more white. You see all the trees and everything else still there. You see some of the hillsides, but the mountains along, kind of off to the east of you that you've been almost present almost the entire time you're there, are known as the Everfrost Peaks because the tops of them are completely covered in white. And as you go north, the white caps are steadily getting further and further down the mountains until a ways up ahead you can see it's pretty much white all the way down the mountains. But as you travel further north, Um, the nighttime has a very interesting phenomenon, however.
Do 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 do.
Whenever you're out on the deck at night, obviously the moons are up, and at one point, somewhere along here, the moon, like you find that when the moon hasn't quite crested the brighter of the two moons, hasn't crested the horizon yet. There is a dull red glow on the horizon out to the west. You're flying up higher, you can see kind of out there. There's just this ever-present, like reddish glow on the horizon to the west.
What's that all about then?
Out here.
Let's ask the captain. He's from here.
It is they call that area, well, for better use of terms, it is the beacon. It is a permanent volcanic area, and it can be seen for a long ways off in the. Was said, and this is kind of in the histories, that the refugees that came over used the beacon to guide themselves here, as they traveled across the ocean. They had nowhere to know where they were going, but they could see the glow of red on the horizon. And as they got closer to it, they skirted around it and saw it was just lava and volcanoes and fire on this island over there. And they skirted around it and kept going until they actually made landfall with the more hospitable places over here. And so the first cities of Skarlos were founded.
Cool.
But it is not a place known only as the beacon. It is said, it is a land of fire, and as I understand it, the fire giants live there.
Askel lay his hand on his little belt there.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Very. They don't leave the island. Luckily, I don't think anyone would like to meet them in person. They are said to be very brutal and terrible.
Aggressive.
Yes. It is also why none of the refugees landed there.
Yeah. Or if they did, no one ever saw him again.
Yes. I'm sure some enterprising traders or travelers may have gone out there, but if they did, they never came back.
So that island there, that's where the fire giants are?
Yep.
Interesting.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
I say the people around here call it the beacon because, is that from the coastal cities you can actually see the glow much brighter. It's just a dull red glow on the horizon where you are here, but closer to the coastline, you can see it out there. It is a useful tool for navigation as well, as you can always tell where you're going at night, even if your instruments fail you. If you only see the beacon, you know which way you're going. And so the last few days of travel, as you start to see again, it is not completely like sub-zero cold, but it is definitely colder than you've ever really experienced.
Mm-hmm.
Specifically, Athena, you've been up above the high mountains down around Arius, the Airy Peaks. And it can get cold there, and there's lots of snow there. But this one, you see, it's just this blanket of white, permanent, like just permafrost out there. And in the last couple of days, you will see a large.
Is it colder than what I'm used to?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Glad I got that cold weather gear.
Yes. It is definitely Well, you've been in snow. You've been in cold areas. This is just like
Mhm.
permanently cold and snow. And so, as you reach up there, you will see there is what looks like a tall structure of gray stone spires. Has that very gothic, yeah.
I was going to ask that the crew let us know when we're a day away so that I can let him know before we arrive. So
Yeah. So you're a day away. Now's the time.
okay. Yeah,
Okay.
I'll do that. Sorry. I just before you were like, okay, you're there now. You can all go. I'm like, no, I know. I want to surprise him.
No worries. Yeah. I mean, so as you approach, you will hear that it, and I will ensure that no one has any that you are not harassed in any way by our more aerial scouts and/or defenders.
Thank you.
We will see you soon.
Having been boarded by a vampire before on the airship, it's like,
Yes.
yeah,
Yes.
don't want that.
Yeah, and we'll kind of get things in place here as one moment. I'm just going to bring a picture out here of what it looks like. This is the one. Come on now.
As guys, we are sparring almost every day, I'm assuming. The closer that we get to Scarlos, the less that her brain is actually in the fight, and you'll be able to notice it. My brain is more on the fact that we're getting closer and closer to the vampires that she doesn't want to be anywhere near.
Yep. And so effectively, as you get closer, you will see it's very similar to this there. The mountains that you're seeing kind of on the side here, are more, you're kind of looking more off toward the Everfrost piece, way off in the distance there, so it's not quite to scale the right way. But this is the structure here. It's just this tall gray stone, just spires, and everywhere you look, you will see things flying around it. There is just large. It's hard to see what they are until one of them kind of flies up nearby you, and it is definitely a gargoyle. It is a stone. It is a creature made of stone with the wide wings, just sort of banking around, flapping and moving along there. And you can see it sort of, and as you kind of see one up close, you'll notice that a lot of what's flying around the castle are very similar, or roosting on the castle, or everywhere you look here on this stronghold here. One of them essentially will fly up next to you and sort of bank along, almost like it's kind of like as you start to approach, and it's sort of it doesn't speak exactly, although Athena, I'll let you know. I don't think anyone here speak primordial. Does anyone have that language?
I've got an item that lets me use tongues.
I mean, it's not like it will, you'll hear some sort of like grating sound that you don't really recognize the language initially, but it will just sort of like kind of like point and to like to this space over here, this large open flat space on top here. And
for reference, Jim, I don't speak primordial.
Okay, I didn't think so. So yeah, it's basically pointing you to this space right over here, kind of above what's a very obvious like large gateway that's down below here, and essentially you can Therosh will tell Ale, well, there's our landing place at least. They're giving us clearance to land there.
Everyone make sure you've taken a long rest because we've obviously slept on the ship a few days.
Oh yeah. Like about a little over 2 weeks at this point.
Yeah, or a wrong lest if you want to use the nanism.
Yeah, definitely use that, please.
A wrong lest.
Okay. And so, you have arrived at Erlos Keep. Erlos is those of you who essentially is ice, translates roughly to ice fortress essentially, or frozen fortress, Irlos. Um, and and as the ship puts down, you will see stepping out onto this place. Whoops, sorry, that's not. There you go. Just bring him back out here. Oops, that's the token went away. What's happening
Oh,
here? That's
he
not
looks a bit creepy. I don't want to meet him.
That is not his picture. What's going on? Oh, I see why. The token. Okay, his token broke. Image went away.
He's broken token.
Well, the image is there, but the token does not show up anymore.
You have to edit it and put a new token in.
Yeah. I don't see him. I gotta go find him. Anyway, let me just grab his picture. If I can find it now. Anyway, with that, he will step out onto the platform there, and I will bring up his picture in just a moment here, so you can see him. But with that, as he approaches, as the ship has landed and you've reached the frozen fortress, we're going to go ahead and cut to break. As we...
Good break, are we?
Yep.
One.
And we're back. Hey, I forgot to say this at the start of the hour, start of the show, but we are going to be cutting off a little bit early today, probably around in an hour and a half or so. So about half an hour earlier than our usual end time.
I never did a
But
wee. Oh, sorry.
thanks.
I thought I pushed the talk.
Congratulations. Yeah.
I might push the talk. I'm not touching it, and it's not. I don't understand. Sorry.
Well, yeah, push to talk is not
Sorry
pushing
to-
to talk right now. It's okay.
Sorry to interrupt.
Is it me or is it mine or me?
Okay. So,
I'm sorry.
with that, let's get to this very dramatic moment of.
Very dramatic.
I'm so sorry. I don't know why it's not working.
Don't know either.
go.
But I'm thinking of sitting on the button. So, on the kind of landing platform where the ship has taken rest, there, you will see that as you kind of as you start to like move up on the deck of the ship there, from a set of double doors at the far end on the castle side, they will open up, and Amber and Zorlos, the elven vampire, and although if you look at the token there, you can't quite see the points of his ear, but they are tucked back into his head, tucked into his hair, and are in but he stands there in his like very dark like black and gold armor, very pale skin, black hair, and the distinctly glowing red eyes. He will step out there, and as he does, four gargoyles that have been flying around will sort of land on sort of the corners of the corners of the rooftop that you're here. Not menacing, just sort of land to kind of watch. And as he steps out there, there will be two people that walk out with him. One is obviously also a vampire there, not quite as ornately dressed, or their eyes have aren't glowing red like his, but very much a similar pale look, and sort of that regal presence there. Another man, also kind of tall, slender, with a rapier on one on his hip, stepping out there. The other person stepping out behind him is very different look to him there. This person is kind of like almost hunched over a little bit there, a little bit very tall and broad-shouldered. You can see he's kind of wearing a thick, dark fur like mantle down over the side there, and he sort of like leans over, kind of hulking there. You see there's an axe on each hip, each side of his hips there, and he sort of just stands there, just kind of looking menacing. But not hostile, not going for weapons, just as it has that bestial, menacing presence to him.
He's a predator. A natural.
Yes, absolutely. You definitely recognize the look of him there. Although you're looking at three predators, he's the most overtly looking predatory appearance to him. Amber Zorlas steps up. Welcome to Eros, the place where we ensure that the northern reaches of Scarlos are not overrun by. He kind of gestures out toward the tundra beyond the castle. And you'll see, switching on kind of a ridge line there is sort of like a stone wall built. It's not a massive stone wall, but there is like kind of a border line, stone, like columns and stacked stone wall type thing along the ridge that the castle sits at. It is very good to see you all. Much more pleasant circumstances this time. Please, you may wish to come in. Have my thanks for being here and for not coming in any sort of hostility. We want to ensure that your safety is paramount while you are here, and you are not going to come to any harm at all. Same for your ship and crew, although if you they are welcome as well if they wish, or they can move on, or however you want to do things.
I think they're just going to head back out.
I had the feeling they would. He sort of like looks up at the ship there, and just sort of like, and you'll see him actually kind of give like a sign, and then sort of a thing there, and the captain will, there some sort of a very similar salute, and sort of like other than the captain and Ale at the helm, no one else is up on deck, like present, at least visible there.
Mhm.
The captain will, in your ear there, Amethyst, and to each of you there, good luck, and if you need anything, we will be in the region, just a mere hours away for the moment, and we'll kind of circle around until you tell us it is all clear to leave.
Okay. Just be safe, and we'll see you soon.
It will be fine, yes, and good luck. Hope you find what you need. And with that, message is very similar to all of you. And we'll motion to Ale, who the ship will then just take off, leaving the four of you on this cold, snow-covered platform, looking at Zorlos, and you assume his two lieutenants. Please, you may go
Maybe
inside
a
where
roll
this is.
Absolutely.
We wish to go inside, and where it's much warmer and less open. And you'll notice that there's that in this space right here, especially, there's no sunlight on this platform.
Yeah.
Essentially, and he's not. There is light. It is daytime here, but there's no direct sunlight on this platform itself. There, the way it's arranged, it doesn't actually. The sun doesn't like. There are long shadows, from the towering space behind, and this seems to be shielded, at least from there. But he gestures to the door behind him, and his two lieutenants go in first, kind of getting out of the way, and he stands aside there to kind of allow you inside.
I'll do like a half bow, half curtsy kind of awkward like thing, and then
He will just
say
incline his head to you.
thank you, Mr. Zorlos.
Please. Amborin or Zorlos, I've been called either over the centuries. And he'll look to you and look to Lucas, recognizing you, and then looks to Esk and Athena. I do not believe we have met. Might I know your name?
Ask will dip his head. My name is Ask. It is good to meet you.
Excellent. I assume by your accent and by your appearance that you are from Drakal.
Indeed, I am. Yes,
Excellent.
for many parts in Drakal, yeah.
And you of Stone Blood. Looks over at you, Athena.
Yeah, all rocks in here. Thanks. Athena, I don't taste good, and I will hide behind Ask.
Hide
Wait.
behind Esk.
So yeah, the 7.5 foot tall hiding behind the 3.5 foot tall person.
4 foot,
Yeah.
4 foot now with the
Yeah.
That's what I
Yep.
did.
He just sort of like cocks his head to you. Interesting.
Fully to your waist.
I will.
Sorry, she's your
Uh-huh.
first. You're her first.
I assure you, I will not be partaking. I have no wish to dine on guests.
Until we're no longer guests. Sure, okay, I'll take your word.
I believe you just said that to him.
Why not?
We don't
I
wanna-
told you.
We don't want to upset the guy. I mean,
He will actually just like pause and
Why
just
are
like
you poking the bear?
he will pause and look at you like and you sort of there's no like magic. I know those who are looking like watching. There's no magic or anything else. He looks at you very intently and just says, "I can assure you, no harm will come to you in this place unless you initiate something."
so don't initiate anything. Don't kick anyone. Don't
And-
hit anyone. Don't call
Nope.
anyone a name. Don't ask
Ah.
if you're gonna get eaten.
I won't even talk.
Talk.
Nope.
And so, with that, he will just sort of like, please, to a more pleasant environment. And he will, and as you step inside, it is noticeably warmer. Not uncomfortably so, but I mean, there's a contrast as you walk in. You expect to be these tall, gothic, dark place like that, and when you walk in, there are lights everywhere, candle sconces with varying colors of light. Not just a torch light. There'll be actually sort of a soft bluish light from one over here, casting a glow around it. A soft greenish light over here. It's almost like as you walk through, it's not a kaleidoscope. It's just sort of the colors blend from one to the other there. And it's never a harsh, never a bright or like flame kind of open flame kind of style of light there. Just these soft glowing various colors that you looked at all blend from one to the other. It is comfortable. If you have any sort of cloak or anything else that you can immediately remove it without feeling any discomfort. But as you step inside there, it's a very large like open space hallway, and there is almost a thick rug of kind of like charcoal gray and red along the floor. It's sort of like in the entryway and then all the way down the hallway. It stretches off toward the left. You'll see his lieutenants. I'm just going to standing off to the side there, out of the way, just kind of keeping an eye. Again, not looking hostile, but obviously looking alert. Emphasis: there is no buzz from the jagged blade. It is. There's no sense of threat at the moment.
At the moment.
I mean, like I said, it's possible it could change, but there is nothing currently acting as any kind of a threat.
Yeah. I'm going to telepathically say to us, we need to stay together, no sneaking off. Just let's stick together and be as professional as we can.
Yeah.
Okay. He's not giving you a tour. He says, "Please, we may meet here." And he sort of like points toward just down the hallway. The hallway there's a large arched open door essentially. As you approach there, you will enter a very spacious, for lack of a better word, parlor. There are large chairs and couches. There is a fireplace. There's no like roaring fire in there, but there is a soft glow from the fireplace. And again, the air is still comfortable. Nothing here. There's no like open flame, but there's also, it's not cold either. The one thing, it can be perception checks. Just see who picks up on what. Yeah, not a vital thing, but
My
okay.
passive is so much higher.
It's okay. Well, your passive is basically picking up it's kind of overwhelmed by just the alien look of this place. Between the lights and the architecture and the furniture, there's lots of like spikes and not spikes, but like that sort of like that like the roofs here. It's kind of those kind of spires and spindles. The furniture has those little peaks on the corners of them, and everywhere you look has sort of that gothic look to it there. So you're definitely picking up all of that. Athena, you're sort of like just very like eyes everywhere, just like darting back and forth, and you do not see as you move into this place here. There is no one else in here. There's no one in the corners. There's nobody waiting. Nothing in the rafters. There's nobody else like waiting inside here. And the lieutenant stayed outside. They didn't come in with you. Um, Amethyst and Lucas, you're very aware of all this, but the one thing that's kind of this off-putting that you can't shake that you're picking up on is there is a faint scent of blood in the air. It's not strong. It's not like there's things around here bleeding. It's just there. And like you can't sense stronger or weaker anywhere. It's just like it's in the walls. It's in the floors. It's just there. In a way that you haven't really experienced. Like I said, it's not like fresh, like you are like things are bleeding around you. It's just that coppery tinge in the air around you. That's there. There's also somewhere you can hear barks and like growls from something in like it's hard, like you didn't hear it outside, you're hearing it inside. There's the faint like barking and growling sounds from something or other. If it's not close, nothing you can see around you here, but somewhere echoing through the hallways deeper into the place there's some sort of barking and growling. But he motions to chairs and everything else. I can have refreshments brought for you that will be appropriate for you if you wish, but please make yourselves comfortable. We can discuss what it is you wish to know. Before we do so, however, I will say I have been made aware of some of your recent achievements, some things that you've done. I have informants in various places and ambassadors and people that bring me information. And I have heard of your efforts on behalf of the nation of Garvon and on the things you've done in Drakar as well. I am very appreciative of the things that you do to make this place safer. For I have a feeling, especially the events of Drakar would have been much more dangerous to the entire world if it was left unchecked.
Oh,
So,
definitely.
I don't. If you, at some point, if you wish to provide some more details, I would like to know. But, well, I'm sure we'll have time for that. We'll make time for that if there's time permitting. So, what is it I can tell you about specifically the cataclysm and
We believe
Overlord.
that. Sorry.
Please.
We believe that that people, namely Corwain, whose name I'm sure you know, along with Rary and other people allied with them, are trying to bring about another cataclysm. The event that happened recently in Port Aurus that we mostly averted, other than the people in the temple of the Raven Queen. That was an attempt, and had we not secured most of the devices that were placed around the city, that would have been a lot larger scale than it actually was.
Before you go too much further, I'm not aware of what happened. That is
Right.
news that does not reach this far north. That something happened in the city of Port Aurus.
Then it's very, very important that you do know to protect your own cities and to protect Scarlos. Lots of small imps placed metallic devices all around the city in
they
Specific.
were metallic spheres
Yeah.
that, when activated, would explode and cause a tear in the reality, opening up a portal.
Yeah.
On the god that the temple was representing.
They
The-
targeted temples themselves, and did they?
They targeted temples and places of magic, places where there are magic people or magic items, the Wizards Guild and various other places.
High concentrations of magic was where they targeted mostly. Divine and or arcane didn't matter.
We managed to secure most of the items. I believe we secured about 16 of them. One of them was punched a few times.
Physical attacks do work. We did find out. Does cause a large explosion. You do need to.
He will pause a moment and sort of like, and you will see him sort of, he will just sort of make a gesture of some kind there, and a very similar looking sphere will appear, an illusionary, they're about this large,
Yeah,
covered in runes.
It looks like that. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, these
Hey,
were.
don't play baseball with that. It goes boom.
It's just an illusion.
Oh,
And you'll see it really just kind of like appeared out of nowhere and above his hands. Interesting. This design was used in the past.
have you seen it before? Like here?
No, this was used. I never held one in person. I was only shown what it looked like. There was many other places in Taigash who were targeted with things like this. It was only a few were found intact. So this Corwain person I do not know, or Rary I have somewhat heard of, but I believe he's a wizard of some kind with but famous in Gervon. But they likely have stumbled across schematics of some kind to reproduce these things, or whoever they are working with may have given them this idea. Please go on. Yes, but I am aware of the things that you speak of, and
Esk is gonna ask Amethyst back. Are we going into the full details with this guy? As we want.
I would like, obviously, to. I want to be as open and honest as possible and try and get as much information as we can. He wants to protect Skolos, obviously. First and foremost.
So then we should tell him about the Shadowfell when the portal opened up.
Yeah, Esk is gonna just start telling his parts that he has seen over the last couple of months here. Just like go through the details of like who Corwain is, like where Rary is, like the expedition, go through kind of the details of that, the demonic influences, the portal into the Shadowfell that got opened up. Like he'll just start like sharing all that kind of stuff, just giving actual details on here's what we're facing, here's what we think is happening, here's everything. This is all cards on the table, basically.
I want to make it clear as well that everything that happened before with Wraith, everything that happened with his daughter being involved, all of that was all down to Corwain. Corwain has been the master of everything that has happened so far that's terrible and bad, apart from obviously the whole Drakol thing. I don't think Corwain was involved in that, but everything else that's happened, over the last however long, it's just all been down to him. He's obviously an important figure, or was an important figure in Dravia, and you might have even met him at some point, I don't know. But he is trying to bring about the cataclysm, and it's just an absolute nightmare.
Well, wasn't he there for the incident that happened across the sea?
He was in full support of the Dark King during the last war and everything. And
That was literally almost a 1,000 years after the cataclysm.
yeah,
The Dark King and everything else. That Corwain. Corwain's isn't that old.
no.
Yeah. But do you have an image of this Corwain?
I can think real hard and picture him.
You've never seen him. He's talking
Nope.
about.
I will cast
I see.
minor illusion, and I will show him what he looks like.
Yeah.
That's just the one that would have that, right?
Let me see how I'm a. Okay. Unfortunately, actually, I'll give him a badge. I know. He was. I do not recognize him specifically, but I don't think this is his normal appearance. Something about that seems off.
Right.
So.
Yeah, we know that he has appeared.
Name.
He has used illusion magic to appear younger.
Older, and he used makeup to do it. Specifically, not using illusion.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, he made himself look older.
Yeah, he made himself look much older because he looked like a somewhat elderly half elf is how you met him.
Right. Okay.
So he's actually a full-blooded elf and looks much younger. Obviously, illusions can be detected.
Yeah, I'll explain that to him then. That we
Okay.
believe that he used makeup to make himself look different. He appeared to be a half elf, but we know that he is actually a full elf. His sister lives in Raven's Crest. He was using her to spy on us at one point, but then she realised that people were getting hurt and she stopped, I believe.
Sister elf. Do you have an image of her?
I'll show him what she looks like.
So advanced in age, yes, but just one more.
I'll also show him what Rary looked like when I saw Rary, and also,
yeah.
Oh, he wouldn't know Rary. Okay.
No, Rary's a human. He's only
yeah.
Well,
I will.
Yeah. Good.
I will say about the expedition and everything that happened.
Yeah.
And that.
Yeah, ask to explain that.
I did hear a bit about an expedition taking place. A foolhardy thing at best. I do not recognize her either, but something about this nags at my memory a bit. I'll have to look into some of the information I might have. Maybe call in a couple of favors. But let us see here. So this Corwain is working with a mage of Garavon. This whole business with the Dark King. Ugh. Upstart moron.
And then there's the big dragon thing that we saw in the Nightmare Lands through the rift that opened. That I managed to close, thankfully, before it came through.
Shadowfell is a terrible place. We occasionally had, due to the nature of this place and the surrounding environs, occasionally have glimpses of things from Shadowfell, but there are terrible creatures there, of course, both dead and partially dead. There are living things in Shadowfell as well, but it is not a matter of a rift of the size that you describe would be very problematic indeed.
Again, it would have been a whole lot bigger had we not managed to collect up most of the devices and put them into an extra dimensional space before they exploded. I
I saw the aftermath of what happens if it's done it unchecked.
I don't know if you have like a lot of magic in Scarlet. It's the first time I've ever been here, but if you do, I would make sure people have a way of seeing invisible creatures and just to look out for that happening, because you don't want scholars going explodey boom.
That's the long yes. We don't want. Yes, there's less in the way of divine magics and such in our empire, but there is quite a bit of arcane and much a lot of nature magic used. We have very few deities that we broker with, but it is still something to consider.
So all of this brings us to here. Yes, we need information to stop this. So we believe that the individual and the pit theme that we mentioned earlier are located and need to go and stop. We how to get there. Really, our understanding, you know how to get there and what we may be facing on the
I
other
have
side.
not gone there since I left. It is the loss of what was left behind is complete and total, catastrophic. The only survivors of what happened are, well, the only are the descend are settled here and are the descendants. The lands of the elves in the northeastern coastal areas of Tygash. They did not fare the same as the cities. They did not burn, explode, and were ripped apart. But the unstable nature of things caused losses beyond imagination. The high elf cities crumbled under earthquakes and rifts into the elemental planes of earth. The forested lands were overrun by tormented and twisted things of the Feywild that became unstable and aggressive. And the Underroad, place of useful and our own, was completely overrun by the dead. It was 3 nations, well, of elves, that using the Underroad made peace over millennia. And this is in my history. And the ambitions and hostility of these mages and cultists and their links to the underplanes and the hells unleashed all of this. Now we have fools trying to do it again. You ask about the way to return to the Nightmare Lands, to Tagash. I have a way. It is one that has not been used, but I do know it will work. However, before we get to that, what is there? We left because the destruction, the chaos, the armies of madness were spreading across the entire continent. Cities burned or put to rubble by these explosions and the things that opened up. The rifts kept appearing and growing and shifting and changing and unleashing more and more chaos into the lands. We had seers that went and found a place we could go across the ocean. And so, to save as many of our people as we could, we boarded the ships we had and did everything we could to build more and more and sent people away from the chaos. I was among the last to leave. And what I was charged with entreating for aid from some of the nations to the south of us. And what I found there made our situation pale in comparison. Cities burned eternally, the fires never quenching, as if the hells themselves had opened up and spilled out into the streets. Demonic creatures and terrible things of undeath and madness killed everything that moved. It was the closest thing I can imagine to hell itself. And the few people I was able to speak with, there were no help from the gods. There was no help from anywhere. It was all unraveling and tearing itself apart. But it was contained. It could not spill out beyond the land itself. Not entirely. So we took a few people that we've rescued in our last ships and left it behind. The one thing that was still there in one of the more protected and somehow less damaged areas was a thing called a waystone. It is a portal of sorts. And we took the adjoining waystone with us. It is similar to what is used now, teleportation circles, conjuration cords. There's similar things done now. Very similar in how they're used. But we brought the matched one with us. And I guard it here. So yes, there is a way to return.
That's good. I mean, terrifying, but good.
There's a way to return, but are you
well,
willing to let us use it to return?
Yeah, that is my question. So can we A, what would it cost to use this item? And then B, can we use it to get back?
Yes, I will be willing to allow you to use it. What is happening there cannot continue. I don't know where these people are. Don't have a way to tell you where these people are. The continent of Tagash is vast. I suspect some of the larger cities might be where they are housed, but which ones those are, I could not tell you. There is
would you possibly have a map to the continent anymore, or was the chaos moving things too much that we don't actually even know?
A map. Unfortunately, many things were lost in the transition. We tried to save what we could. Um, I've attempted throughout my time to redraw maps so that I could, at least what I could recall. So I will provide something. As I said, what cities still stand or what the landscape looks like now could be very, very different based on the destruction that would caused. But I can provide that.
How many
Hmm?
thousands has it been?
It's been about 1,200 years.
Yeah. Okay.
Yep. So, um, and the reason I became what I am today is so that it would never be forgotten. I am mortal, and while others would not choose this path, I would ensure that that knowledge of what happened, of where we came from, was never lost. There are others who have taken different routes to accomplish the same task. But not as drastic as this one.
Yeah, pretty permanent.
It is, I will say, if any of you wish to gain such power.
No, thank you.
You said there'd be no eating.
He's not
I
eating you.
I am merely making an offer.
It is
No,
a
thank
offer that we can think about. It is interesting what a venture it would be. Yeah.
Oh my
But
God, can you imagine vampire-esque?
We'll give S the biggest side eye look ever. The
for
the
right
utter
now,
the utter look of betrayal.
Thank you for the offer. We do appreciate it, but I think the answer right now is no.
There is one person who hasn't said a word this entire time,
Lucas?
and he will look at Lucas, as Lucas hasn't uttered one word since leaving
do
the ship.
it, Lucas. Do it.
No, I
Thank
don't
God
think.
for that.
I don't think that's the life for me.
It is understandable. It is
Not that we would have been surprised in the least if he'd just gone, yeah, go on then. Vamp me up, dude.
I can ensure the interesting thing about the change, about taking this, some would call it a gift or a curse. It is it's a state of being. It is a power, and it is one that comes with a cost, both to you and others. But the more powerful the person is when they are changed, the more powerful they will be, and the less time it would take for them to transition over to their new state of being. He will say, like, kind of, someone of your power, your abilities, which is obvious, would take little to no time at all. Matter of days. Others may take weeks. Some may never go beyond a mindless animalistic state. It's unfortunate.
Well, we've all declined for now, so I think maybe we should talk about things that are more relevant to today's situation rather than some,
But
The only
out
re-
of curiosity, though, what are some of the gifts?
strength, regeneration, the ability to transform, fly, cloud the minds of others.
weakness to sunlight.
There is that. There are ways around that as well, though.
Having to feed on people.
People feed on things all the time.
Not being able to eat spicy food anymore.
You'd be surprised.
Right, you get the people to eat the spicy food, and then okay. Spicy
He's not denying it. It is a matter of and the fact that you no longer die.
It's been specifically requested of me to not come back we're all vampires, so I don't think any of us want that, so it's not a good idea.
It is only a thing that I would offer someone who is in service to something much greater than themselves.
Well, we appreciate the offer.
Everyone here does so in the defense of Carlos. You are defending the world, essentially.
And I've already got fangs, so I think we're good. And I'll grin at him.
He doesn't grin back.
No, no.
Yeah, I mean, although you can actually just the fact that when he speaks, you can absolutely see the fangs. They're there. Not like they're retracted or hidden. They're definitely there. Well, other types of information. I do know that I've learned over time that much of the cataclysm was brought on by those seeking power, seeking vengeance, seeking destruction and chaos. Those that serve dark gods. Those that.
Bernie.
Yep.
Discord just crashed.
Yeah.
Discord's being very laggy today. It's not just Bernie.
The people that did this.
Welcome back.
Welcome back. That are part of this. They, I believe, sought to not to rule, just to destroy. There are dark gods who wish to see death and chaos. And I believe they worked with them and some of the demon and devil princes. Again, they revel in chaos and destruction as well. So likely, much of what we're looking at here is demonic and fiendish influences and those of the dark gods. This dark king probably heard whispers from similar places. And while he took a different path, he definitely had a similar interest in mind. If he had continued on his path, no doubt he would have come into contact with others much more powerful than him to put him in his place, which it seems he did. And now this Corwain, in speaking with these gods, of listening to following a similar path. Well, if he brings about another cataclysm, this world may not survive it.
That's why we want to prevent it from happening. By killing Corwain and anybody who's also trying to do it.
Well, if it is just them, it will delay things, absolutely. But I have a feeling that those of giving them these ideas and feeding them power will not stop doing so. But perhaps a task for another era.
I'm sure he has many allies at this point. He won't be the only maniac who's trying to do this. But we can at least prevent it for now, I guess.
Yeah, cutting the head off the proverbial snake, that we might do something before it grows back, of course, but hopefully, someone will be able to keep an eye on and stop that mess before they start up again.
Definitely. Well, in that case, I will be willing to give you access to the Waygate, to the stone that this circle that would take you to the northeastern portion of Tagash.
We're 100% sure we want to go over there.
We don't want to, we have to. Such is the life of an adventurer. I pretty much didn't want to do most of the things that I've done since this all started, but we do it because we have to, because who else is going to do it?
Okay.
Others are committed to a specific task or to a specific region. Those that are not fettered by responsibilities in that aspect can do what needs to be done.
I missed the answer to the question of whether that the Waystone will give us access to get back again, or if that's something that we need to do ourselves.
It should. Yes, there's no reason it would unless something were to tamper with it.
Okay.
After you use it.
But I'm assuming that plane shift would work with it.
I could not tell you what the state of magic is in Tagash. Part of the reason the chaos was so terrible in the Cataclysm was the fact that magic was disrupted. Planar travel was unreliable, if not outright deadly, as was teleportation or anything else like that. Teleportation had been failing for decades before the Cataclysm even happened. Magic was dwindling and failing for well over a century, leading up to the Cataclysm, due to the greedy nature of those using magic, twisting it, bending it, squandering it.
So would you be thinking that this is the way that Corwain is getting across?
Oh, absolutely not.
No,
absolutely not. Not through the Waygate. This is a
could there
specific
be
place.
another Waygate, or is there only the one?
I don't believe so. I think someone, and the things you described to him so far, he picked up on things here and there and things he's heard. If someone is attuned to the chaos, who is a part of it, and has access to people of the plains, especially the lower nether planes, the hells and such, there may be individuals helping them. If these imps all appeared, they had to have been sent there. Something was opened up to allow them to flood through.
Well, we know that. Sorry, we know that Corwain has the devil. Devil. He's the coin, so he's linked with a creature that maybe they are the ones who are giving him access.
Someone with the right knowledge and skill, and I mean, priests can open up gateways to other places, as can powerful arcane casters as well. It is possible that they are not hindered in the way others might be, because they are attuned to it. They're a part of it. The chaos of the outer planes, the gods and everything else, has been stabilized for quite a long time now. But it was a part of why things were so bad. But now, we have more stability and the gods can do what they do. However, if this were to happen again, they may not be able to do what they did before to rectify the problem. So, if you will not accept a gift of immortality and power, what else might you need beyond the Waygate itself?
I mean, we're not quite immortal, but I think we can handle ourselves. But, I mean, anything really, any advice, anything that you can give us that would help, you know, we can. Everybody benefits from it, except for those who are doing it, I think.
There is... I don't have much in the way of things to give you that you wouldn't already have had access to, because you all have very powerful and strong items amongst you already. I can sense the arcane and divine magics around you and your items. But I would say anything you can do to destroy demons, fiends, undead, the extraplanar things, is going to be essential. These things, while they are here on the material plane, they could still be sent back. They can still be destroyed. So, if you can close Rift, if you can banish the extraplanar entities, that will be extremely important to what you do. Of course, just destroying them outright is helpful, but the idea of sealing them away, of returning them to where they came from, that is going to be essential. And I have no idea how many or how powerful things you're facing will be. As I said, it has been over a millennia since I saw that land with my own eyes. So,
I wonder if Corwain is banished from where he is, would he come back here? Like, not here, but back to this?
He's already here.
I thought he was there. I don't know.
The Nightmare Lands is still the material plane. It's just overrun by things from other places.
Oh, okay.
It is still the continent of Tagash. The Nightmare Lands are still here. It's just that there are rift, probably permanent ones, that are opened to likely the Hells, the Abyss, Shadowfell, other places where powerful extraplanar creatures can be brought through.
Mm-hmm.
And so that is a matter of, it's as you stated with the temple that happened in Port Oris, that rift opened up, and if it was not sealed, things would keep coming through it. That is very likely what has happened, and it is over in the Nightmare Lands themselves.
So when you say permanent, do you mean like permanent, or is there something we can do to close it?
It sounds like you did something to close it.
We did.
So it is very likely that things, I have heard of other rifts. There was a rift I know of that happened here that was closed. In Coppervale. There was one there. There was one in Scarlos. In the forest that opened into the rift, into the Feywild. And what happened was that the forest giants basically went through and sealed it from the other side. They pulled it closed behind them. Leaving only their descendants, the Furbolg, behind.
Wow. So they didn't come back?
No, they stayed there.
Weird.
Similar to what the dragons did. They all fled into the plains as well.
Yeah.
Mm,
Not all of
didn't
them.
Laura tell you about a dream she had about dragons coming back through?
Mhm.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, she did. She told us.
Yep. It is. I do know that in the times before the cataclysm took place, that many dragons were sick and dying, and they went to the plains to prevent their death.
Yeah.
They could not live on the material plane any longer because the magic was fading and becoming unstable. And since dragons are very much of a magical nature, we had creatures that could not stay on the material plane. Unicorns and other fey-touched creatures couldn't stay, and they led through any openings that to the Feywild they could. And there were some druids that helped them, sent them on their way, so they wouldn't die here. Extraplanar. Those of it in the time of the cataclysm and the fading beforehand, everything was falling apart, and then it all erupted in chaos in one series of explosions and terrible occurrences all around the world.
Has he got any idea how we can find them in the Nightmare Land once we get there?
Find them by their allies. You're going to find them based on the creatures they use. That type of influence is going to be detectable. It's going to leave its mark. You're going to be able to track it and sense it and find it by the fact that they use fiends, they use demons, they use devils. If they truck with them, they're going to be much easier to find. They are not of this place, even though they are here. They are not of this plane, and that is detectable. If you can use that to track them down, finding the highest concentrations of that they're using these powers, that's where they'll be found.
Would you possibly know which CD was opened up to the Hells? Maybe more than other ones?
I hazard a guess. I saw the city on fire. I don't know if it was just being destroyed or overrun, but your loss. Sorry, your luck. It was a coastal city south of us. It was a mostly predominantly human, very much a high magic city. I know it was. The reports of its destruction were almost complete. Yorlok was one of the largest cities along the eastern coastline of Tagash. Further south, you had mostly Orcish cities along the coastlines there, and they are not. Well, my understanding now is that much of the Orcish bloodlines have been lost in the world. But they were not a high magic society, or they did not have vast cities like Yorlok was. Further inland in the mountains, inland you had the dwarven cities and dwarven nations there, and then, well, the center of Tagash was just an absolute mess. It was a never-ending war. Part of why the fading of the magics happened because of the centerlands. The every kingdom there, every city, nation there was a war-torn mess as they continually fought over everything. And I believe it is their fault why magic started to fail. So I would say from the waypoint, from the waygate, if you travel southeast, you will reach a devastated region surrounding Yorlock. And that would be a place to start, at least.
Yorlock.
Yorlock. Yorlock.
Hmm.
The Waygate is situated at the southern reaches of what was the High Elf Kingdom. It was in a remote area, so it was not it would not be lost in the earthquakes that happened. It was situated in a place that was protected, but though the cities and towns of the mountains fell, the Waygate, I know, is still active. The magic is still strong. So, I can give you access to this. I had considered making you perform a task and do so, but what I have to do here can be dealt with by our forces. It's not something you need to concern yourselves with.
So what is it? Maybe we need a pregame.
I would rather not delay you in this task here. There is a massing of frost giants to the north. We've scouted out one of their. It isn't a permanent settlement, but it is a settlement nonetheless. And so we are gathering our forces to go and deal with them. It will be. He's not something to send you in, even though you've done enough to deal with giants lately.
Yeah, maybe it's something we can help with once this has been attended to. But
I would hope it was dealt with before you're done. This will not be a short task that you are embarking upon.
okay. Yeah. But I think this is definitely priority over everything else.
Well, I would assume then you wish to inform your airship that they should be on their way.
Oh, I thought they were already gone.
Oh no, they are circling about 30, 40 miles around the area.
I'll do a sending to him now and say you can leave, head back home. We'll see you soon.
Good luck. I hope it all goes well, and you keep in touch with us if you can.
If I can.
So.
Okay, done.
Okay. Well, in that case, a moment. I might have something that can be of use to you, and as you are doing extraplanar things, and we are not. He goes and he leaves you for a moment, getting you to speak amongst yourselves for a moment as he wanders out of the room.
Not going to
Okay.
lie. I am a little bit thinking it might
No.
be fun.
No, Esk, no. This is not. No. No.
I'm just saying.
I will kill
The
you myself
lifespan
if
of
you
my
even
race
think about it.
is like we lived to only be about 60. I only got about like
Absolutely
like 40 more
not.
years to go.
Absolutely not.
No. All right.
No.
Listen. Not only no, but hell's no. Listen, Ask, you don't want to. I'm gonna call you Linda from now on. You don't want to do this.
Linda, and telepathically, so as not to be heard by anybody else who may be listening, I'm going to say I will stake you in the heart myself if you do this. So don't even think about it.
I mean, like the way
No.
he was describing, it might not be too bad.
Yeah. But everybody that you know and love dying, and that's it. You're just alone. You drink blood. You can't eat food anymore. No, you don't want to be dead.
The way he was saying, there's still spicy food. They're still spicy, you know.
You have to get somebody to eat spicy food before you drink their blood. That's not no.
Also,
as the argument rages on here, Zorlas will return, and he's going to hand. He will hand it to you, Lucas, because I mean, and he hands you a black rod, about 1.5 feet long there, and there is a strangely faceted black gem on the end of it here. And as you look at it, and there's a weird like flash from the gem of chaos as you kind of touch this there, and it's not exactly the same magic, but it's similar enough. This is a rod of banishment. It will allow you to banish things. I believe it is more useful to you or you're doing in this task than it is here this time. So I entrust this with you and your group, but effectively it lets you cast Banish twice a day. It's not attuned.
Lucas has already got a magnetic rod of banishing.
There you go. Well, now you have more than one.
Now I've got 2.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. So he doesn't know that. He just knows that
Fine.
So with that though, we are he will essentially prepare yourselves if you wish. If there's anything you need before we go, I will bring you to the Waygate, and you may embark upon a very dangerous and an enviable task. And at that point, we'll let you guys take some time. And when we come back next week, we will have a chance to embark upon a time in the Nightmare Lands and see what this is going to be like. So with that, though, I do need to get a run on, get going myself here. So I hope you all had a good time. Hope we see you all back here again soon. As always, drinks are on us, and we'll see you next week. Take care, everyone. Bye.
Bye.